I did ask you earlier about your, the first case that you maybe heard of that got you into it. The first thing that got me into true crime, and it came through, and I did listen to your podcast on this. It came through a T-shirt that Eddie Vedder was wearing one day.
Ah,
At one
yeah.
concert, he was wearing a West Memphis 3 T-shirt, released the West Memphis 3, I should say. So I was kind of thinking, who's the West Memphis 3? And I was told a bit about it, and I went online then, and I found the Paradise Lost trilogy,
Yeah.
which still to me is the best crime documentary I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. There have been some other ones since then. Peter Jackson and is it Fran Walsh? Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh. They put together West of Memphis. And then there was the one that you did, and I actually watched that too. What was that one called again? The Forgotten?
Oh my God. It's do you
Forgotten
know what?
West Memphis 3?
I'm actually delighted you've brought this up, and you are going to be as well. I'm going to give you some insider information that, like, the perils of being a true crime presenter, true crime documentary podcast presenter. After I did that case, I won't mention names because I don't want to make myself liable for anything, but the prime suspect,
I know,
contacted me on Facebook.
Oh, no way.
Threatening me.
Oh, God.
Honest to God. I was like, how the hell did you find my podcast? And this is my private page. This wasn't my podcast page. Yeah, I got a message request and I was just like, what the hell? So, I mean, look, if there was ever a sign of guilt, I think that's it, Derek.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're probing through, Irish podcasts, looking for people who finger you as the prime suspect. And I mean, like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm not the person. It's not like I solved the case and go, that's him. Everybody thinks it's him.
Yeah, everybody does.
But yeah, he actually reached out to me on Facebook and I got this essay. How I should be ashamed of myself and I was like, dude, all I'm gonna do is screenshot this and send it into my podcasters group. Like, they're gonna lose their shit. Like,
you're feeding information.
I've made it.
I can't believe that. I mean, if people, because I've said there's a few things. The initial case was 3 young boys, 8 and 9-year-olds were killed and put in a river in Arkansas. 3 older boys, 16, 17 around, I think they were at the time, were put into, or were found guilty of it because of witchcraft and all that, and were put into prison. And then it went on for a long time. I followed up this kind of quite closely after, because I was like, there's no way that those 3 lads did it. And it's one of those things where if a few famous people get behind a case, they're not getting behind a case because they think these lads are guilty. It just put a stain on their own, reputation.
They're not going to put their name to something that,
and they got out after, I think was it 20 years, maybe a little bit less. But I remember reading Damien Eccles, who was kind of apparently the ringleader of them. I read his book when he got out of prison, and it was a really great book. And he's for a man who was treated so harshly for so many years to come out and still have that view of life the way he has, it's an incredible kind of journey that he was on. But it keeps coming. And when I was watching the West Memphis 3, and I suppose I can mention this guy's name because he's not considered the main suspect, but he was, during the initial films, was it Mark Byers? Christopher is the kid, so was it Mark? Yeah, was a stepfather of one of the kids, and he did not make himself look innocent in the film. He was with he had a flamethrower at one point or something, and when you see someone who's kind of gone so over the other side, you're like, what are you doing? Like, you really are ruining your reputation and making yourself look 100% guilty. Then it turns out it wasn't him, alibis, things. But I don't know, is it because the case hasn't been resolved yet, that it's kind of, for me, it has always remained fascinating. If there's a bow put on at the end of it and tied up, and you kind of have the case here, but I can't get over it. You were contacted by the other guy, but that is bizarre.
It's crazy.
How long after you did the podcast did he contact you?
Oh, like maybe a fortnight.
So he is literally like Googling
Googling his name, he must
his
be.
name
Or
or
Googling,
the case or whatever it might be, and just and like you say, there's nothing screams like guilt more than a guy who's obsessed.
Absolutely.
With
Absolutely. And like, it's funny because, you know, you were talking about Richard Ramirez, and then obviously, you know, the West Memphis 3 as well. They were all they would all kind of fall under the same category, in that like America was going through the Satanic Panic at the time, where they thought like literally the whole of America was overrun with satanic cults. And, you know, even in the documentaries that are made about the time, you can just see how like they'd go into somebody's house and go, you know, he's got a candle, it's in the shape of a star. Oh, it's a pentagon. It's satanic. Like, they just anything, like, you know, he's wearing a red top. Red is the color of blood. It's satanic. They were just looking for ways to make things satanic. And so then like somebody like David Eccles, or Damien Eccles, I should say, who, you know, is alternative at best.
Yeah.
By our standards, but by, you know, when you're down in the deep south, the Bible Belt, rootin' tootin', and they're all Baptists, you know, if Jesus Christ, imagine me, you know, Nirvana, Radiohead, Preoccupied, you know, Jesus, I would have been pegged for something over there, you know. You listening to Pearl Jam would have been pegged for something over there. Like, you know, we were the, you know, the alternative kids. So like, you really do feel for them. You really do feel for them, because there was, it wasn't just an assault on Satanic Panic. It was an assault on you're different, therefore you're bad, you know? And I think there's a lot of that in the States anyway, you know, but...
And you know what was upsetting, and Making a Murderer was something simple. It was something similar, where they took they brought a guy with learning difficulties into a room.
IQ 47.
Yeah, 47.
Same as a toddler.
Yeah, exactly. And they took this, he they led him down the path, and he went with them because he thought, if I tell them everything now, I'll get out and go home to my mom. You know, that they did that. They've done that numerous times, but those two cases in particular, kind of as famous as they are.